workshop that will introduce you to the wonderful world of meditation. Would you please let me know your name and why you might be interested in learning how to meditate?
My name is Linda McGuire, and I'm interested in learning how to relax more and get in touch with my inner self a little more.
I love that. You've come to the right place then. What got me interested in meditation initially is when I was very young, I had trouble falling asleep. And my mom, I don't even know where she learned this, but she taught me some body scan. So I'd be laying in bed and she would have me concentrate on relaxing individual parts of my body, from my feet up to my head. And by the time I was done with that a few times, I was out. And so it really helped me fall asleep. But then when I got older and, you know, it's like I'm raising a family and chasing a career and wouldn't be able to turn my mind off at night. And that body scan, this wasn't working. So I found a book literally called How to Meditate. And I started practicing the technique that I learned in that book. And I would do it at night right before going to bed. I would just do 10 minutes of this technique. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, and instead of just tossing and turning like I would usually do, I'd sit up in bed and I'd start to use this technique. And it wasn't 30 days, and I was falling asleep shortly after going to bed. If I woke up in the middle of the night, right, I'd do the technique and go back. After 30 days of that, I was sleeping like a baby. And so I was hooked on daily meditation. Now, since that time, I studied more about meditation, derived a lot more benefits than just being able to fall asleep. But that's really what got me started. So relaxation is not going to be a problem. Now, finding your inner self, that's more advanced meditation, but hopefully you'll get a little bit of taste of that before we're done for the meditation today. So one of the things that we're going to do today, I'm going to teach you a technique, but you know, meditation means a lot of different things to different people. And so I want to define what meditation means when I use the word. And it's really a state of mind where your body is totally relaxed, your mind is quiet, meaning your thoughts and your emotions are quiet, but you're still intensely aware, you're intensely alert. And meditation is really used to describe what I think is a process that has two distinct phases to it. And so that first phase I like to call getting there, and then the second phase is being there. And what is there? It's that meditative state. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, okay? So what I want to show you is a couple of preliminary techniques. They're breathing techniques that are designed to help you relax the body and calm the mind. And so I just want to show you those, and we'll practice those before we kind of put it all together before we're done. And so the first is we're going to tense the whole body. And we're going to inhale through our nose, tense the whole body, and then we're going to let it out through the mouth and relax. So go ahead and do it with me again. And try to tense the whole body, hold. Sometimes we have so much tension in our body we're not even aware of it. So by exaggerating that tension and then learning how to let it go, you actually can consciously relax your body more than if you just came in here thinking you were relaxed. The other one is more for calming the mind. And so this is even count breathing. And all we're going to do is we're going to inhale for the same duration through the nose. We're going to hold the breath for that same count. Exhale through the nose for that same count. And I'll go ahead and keep track by snapping my fingers. Right, so all you're going to do is inhale, hold, and exhale to the count of my fingers. We'll do it for a count of 6. Okay? So go ahead and inhale through your nose for 1. Hold. And then exhale through your nose. Go ahead and inhale. Hold. And exhale. And that really helps to regulate the energy in the body slows the mind down because you're concentrating on breathing in a way that you're not used to breathing. And we can shorten that count. The duration doesn't matter. It could be 4 or it could be 24. It doesn't matter. The key, though, is to regulate that breath. We want that to be the same duration. And I can shorten that. So maybe when we actually go through it, we'll do 4. Okay? And we'll do maybe 4 or 5 rounds of that. So that's just a preliminary technique to get the body and the mind slowed down so that when we do the meditation technique, it's more effective in helping you get there. Right? So those are just preliminary. So the technique itself I'm going to teach you is called Hong Saw. Hong is 2 words, so H-O-N-G, rhymes with song, if I'm singing a song. And then Saw is S-A-U, but it's just like I saw with pretty flowers. So Hong Saw. It's Sanskrit, and it's not a literal translation, but it's essentially Hong is I saw spirit. So it's I am spirit. That's the, so when you talk about wanting to get into your inner self, depends on how you define that inner self, and that it can almost mean whatever it is, whatever definition you have for spirit. Okay, so I am spirit, and it's a mantra that we'll repeat with the breath.
Hong Saw.
Hong Saw. And all we're going to do is we're going to inhale and exhale through our nose, and as you inhale, just mentally only, you'll say the word Hong, but you don't want to move your lips or your tongue. This is just mentally only. And then whenever you exhale, you'll say Saw. So I'm inhaling Hong, exhaling Saw. And so that mantra helps to focus the mind and brings it to this concept of I am spirit. Okay? And so posture is important for this technique. So some postures are more effective than others. So essentially the principles of the posture are we want to have a straight spine, which is silly, really, because the spine naturally curves. So it's just the natural curve. And the way I like to think of that is if my pelvis is tilted forward, it gives me that natural curve in the lower back, and it actually opens my chest, opens that heart center of the body. So the shoulders naturally are a little bit back, and the chest is open. So we call that a straight spine. And then because we've chosen to sit in a chair, the feet would be flat, and then I like to just rest my hands in my lap. Palms up, because it really helps me keep my energy lifted. For some people, this is a little uncomfortable, but if you can just relax them with your palms up and just let your hands sit there. And then one of the ways to keep that straight spine is I almost like to take my hands like this, rest them on my lap, and then I open them, and I kind of follow my belly around. You see what that does to my chest? You feel that? So it's just a natural way of kind of opening that heart center in the body. Kind of keep those shoulders back. And you can almost feel it in the shoulder blades, where you can kind of feel those shoulder blades kind of pinch back.
That's where I get all my stress.
Okay. So we don't want you to be tense. Just enough tension to kind of keep that heart open. And I find that the hand position really helps us to do that. To be comfortable, especially for longer periods of meditation, it's important to have your knees lower than your hips. And so your legs are a little bit long for this chair. And so why don't you go ahead and take this and just tuck it back in the back of the chair like here and sit on the edge of it. And let's see how that does. Let's see if you can feel the difference. So I can just see it in the slope of your leg. So you don't want a big slope, but I can tell that your hips are higher. Do you feel that difference at all?
I do.
Okay. So that just makes it a little more comfortable. And then we want our chin level to the floor. And it's important to remember that because behind closed eyes, I'm going to have you lift your inner gaze to the point between the eyebrows. So the prefrontal lobes of our brain, that makes us uniquely Homo sapiens, right? This is where we want to focus our attention in meditation. So what I like to do is I take my hand on top of my head, and I just go straight out, and then without moving my head, I just lift my fingers, or my eyes to look at my fingers. And that way it's as if I'm just looking above the horizon. So I don't want to strain my eyes, and don't want any eyes rolling to the back of your head. So the idea is that you're looking off into the distance, but through that forehead. So if you close your eyes and lift the inner gaze, and then open your eyes, you should almost be looking just over the top of my head off into the distance, okay? So no strain. So that's a lot to think about, but I'll remind you as we go through, but that would be an effective meditation posture, okay? Any questions about any of that? Okay, good. So what I want to do is then guide you through the practice, and we'll only do it for a few minutes. But at the end of it, we're going to release the technique. So we'll do the Hong Sau technique for a little while. And the idea is, even in a short meditation like this, you'll feel more relaxed, you'll feel calm, the thoughts and the feelings will calm down. And then we just want to let go of that technique with a breath. So I'll tell you to go ahead and inhale through the nose, and then we'll exhale. Just 3 gentle exhalations like that. Go ahead and do that with me. And then we'll just let the breath stay out as long as it's comfortable. But when the body wants to breathe, let it breathe. Okay? And then we'll just sit in that silence for just a few minutes after we let go of the technique. One of the things that I really want to emphasize, the core aspect of this meditation technique, is to let the body breathe on its own. Right? As soon as I ask you to watch the breath, a lot of the tendency is to want to control the breath. And so when we inhale Hong and exhale Sa, you don't want the mantra to control the breath. You want to wait for your body to breathe on its own accord. So if I'm relaxed and I feel the body wanting to inhale, then mentally I say Hong. When the body wants to naturally exhale, I'll mentally say Sa. And let the body breathe. That's hard. But the goal is to watch yourself breathe as if you were watching me breathe. Right? You can't control my breath. So it's just about being a real good observer of your own breath. Okay? Last thing before I walk you through the meditation is the breath. So we're emphasizing the breath and wanting to just watch the body breathe of its own accord. And so I want you to breathe naturally, which means from the diaphragm. So the way to feel it for me is I put a hand on my chest and on my belly, and then I just breathe like you ordinarily would, and see if you can feel how the body moves as you breathe. And where do you feel? Which hand do you feel the body breathing? Up here on the chest. So what I want you to really try to do is relax the abdominal muscles. So the way I describe that is by having a soft belly. So really just kind of let the belly muscles go. And see if you can feel the belly rise and fall as you breathe. And one way to do this is to exaggerate your breath. So take a deep inhale and see if you can push your belly on the inhale against this hand. And then as you exhale, see if you can feel that belly move back towards the spine. Do you feel that difference? And I can still feel your chest move as you breathe. So it's just kind of an informal gauge of how much tension you might feel in your body. If it's really tight down here, the lungs have to go somewhere when the diaphragm moves into the abdominal cavity. And if it's tight down here, you'll tend to breathe more in your chest. Not a big deal for right now, but just to practice breathing from the diaphragm, it helps your body become more relaxed during the meditation. Okay? So we're going to try to keep a nice soft belly, breathe from the diaphragm. It's a lot in a short period of time, but I'll walk you through it. So go ahead and make sure that you're comfortable and you're in the right posture, your hands kind of pulled away from each other, just resting at the juncture of the thighs and the abdomen here. And just go ahead and let them rest heavily in your lap. And just go ahead and close your eyes. And then lift that inner gaze. Looking at that point between the eyebrows, kind of peering off into the distant horizon through the forehead. And let's go ahead and start with those preliminary techniques. And so we're going to inhale and tense the body. And then exhale through the mouth and relax the body. So inhale, tense. Exhale, relax. One more time. Good. And we'll do that even count breathing. So you're just going to inhale through the nose, hold and exhale for the same count. And we'll just do a count of 4. So inhale. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. 1. Hold. And exhale. Good. Let's just watch our breath. Just feel the body move as you inhale and exhale through the nose. Really checking for that soft belly. As best you can, breathe from that diaphragm. You can feel that belly rise and fall as you breathe. Check to make sure the inner gaze is lifted behind closed eyes. And see if you can feel the breath as it flows in and out through your nose. Sometimes you can feel a slight coolness right as the air enters your nostrils. But wherever you feel the breath in your nose, try to concentrate on the breath at that point. You got a cramp? Might have to raise those hips a little higher. Are you okay? Do you feel it in your hip? Do you want to lift your hips up a little bit more? Think that would help you? Let me try it. I've got another blanket here. Go ahead and put that right on top of the other one. And see if that relieves some of that pressure. You feel a difference? Okay, go. So go ahead and check the breath again. Make sure that inner gaze is still lifted.
That's what I'm having trouble with, keeping my gaze up.
It's okay, it takes practice.
Yeah.
Right? This isn't something that we're used to doing all the time. And you'll just be aware of it. I mean, as soon as you're aware that that gaze is dropped down, that's okay. Just recheck your posture, lift that inner gaze again, and off we go. This is part of the practice. And so with the next inhalation, I want you to go ahead and start the Hong Sa technique. So you'll inhale Hong, just mentally only. And then you'll exhale Sa.
Both through my nose.
Yeah, both through your nose. Inhaling through your nose, Sa. Hong. Exhaling through your nose, Sa. Hong. Inhale, Sa. Exhale. And again, trying to feel that air flow through your nose. Wherever you can feel it the most, just concentrate your attention there. And then one technique that we use to help us focus is you can move your right index finger, your forefinger on your right hand, and as you inhale, just slightly curl it in towards your palm as you inhale and say the mantra Hong. And then as you exhale, Sa, just relax it back out again. It doesn't have to be a big movement, just a gentle movement in as you breathe in. Let it go as you exhale. Let's just practice this technique for a couple minutes. just natural to have thoughts pop into your head. Just don't engage with them. Just check your posture, check your inner gaze, observe your breath, and with the next inhalation, just begin with the mantra Hong Sa again. I want you to take a nice breath in and then do that exhalation 3 times. And just let the breath stay out. We're going to let the technique go. No more mantra. No more watching the breath. Just ignore the breath. Keep the inner gaze lifted to the point between the eyebrows. No more moving the finger. And just rest in the silence, rest in the stillness for another moment. Okay, now go ahead and take a deep breath. Preparing your mind to come back into the room. Whenever you're ready, open your eyes. That was a lot of information in a short period of time, and we didn't meditate for very long because I could tell we were running short on time, but how does that feel?
Good.
Even for that little bit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Do you have any questions about any of that?
I found that if I pictured the words, the hum, how do you spell it?
Hong Sa, yeah,
I
H-O-N-G.
pictured the
that's
words
it.
because I was getting distracted.
That's interesting. So again, some people are more literal than others. We'll talk later about affirmations and visualization with imagery, where it's kind of natural to help us focus the mind to have words in the form of affirmation.